Alright guys, what is going on? So today we are playing at Upton by Chester Golf Club. Gonna be playing 18 holes on this amazing day, as you can see. My handicap recently has actually come down to 10.9. So let's see if we can go out there and beat it today. So we start things off on this par 3 first hole. Quite nice to actually start your round with a nice easy par 3. I struck my pitching wedge really well. It was a little bit downhill, a little bit downwind, so yeah, 145 yards was, as you can tell, a really good club selection with the pitching wedge. You know, left myself an opportunity for a birdie just off the green on the left hand side, and I actually hit a really good putt here. Give myself a go at it and just scrape the edge. So, you know, I'll definitely take a par to start things off. Nice easy hole to start things off, and I feel warmed up now. That being said, move on to the second hole here, par 4, big dog leg down the left hand side. And I just caught my tee shot a little bit fat actually. So it didn't carry all that, far, but because it's really firm and, summer conditions, it got a good bounce and it's left me, just a 7-iron in. I caught it well, but just with the wind off the left, and I kind of like slightly sliced it a little bit. It's just gone way off to the right, and it's left me a really tricky shot over this bunker with a pin tucked in very close to it. So all I could do was hit a 58 degree, just carry it over the bunker. It's obviously, as you can tell, it's ran on a good way, but at least I've left myself a putt up the hill. And like I said, it's very firm, very fast, but I hit this putt way too firm. So it's ran on a good 5 feet, so I've left myself, work to do for the bogey. Fortunately, hit a good putt, rolled it in nicely, so I'll move out of there with a bogey. Now this fourth hole, only a short one, 268 yards, so I'm using a 3-wood. I think I can get there for a good one, and I do hit a good one. Again, I'm leaking it a little bit down the right-hand side, and I think it caught up in these trees. And then because the fairway kind of slopes to the left a little bit, or just the actual hole itself slopes to the left, it got a bounce left into the bunker, and just kind of didn't really want to go for the flag, to be honest. Just hit it out into the middle of the green. Again, another long look at a birdie, but lagged it up there nicely, so left myself a 2-foot putt for the par, and yeah, definitely take that one again. So I'm playing pretty well at the moment, just got to keep this up. So 9-9 into this par 3, 141 yards, and I knew as soon as I hit it, it was wrong club selection. It was still downwind like it was on the previous, par 3, the first hole. Basically the same wind direction, and I just struck the living daylights out of it, and yeah, it had a massive hop into the out of bounds beyond the green. So as you can see, I've had to hit another one. Thankfully, I actually hit a good one here, so I've left myself an opportunity to scrape a bogey. I mean, it's still, a decent, after I've hit a really good putt, but unfortunately, I didn't, judge the pace too well, but there we go, we'll get a double. See, those are mistakes I need to tidy up a little bit. But we move on to the 5th hole, only a short one again, 324 yards, but still I'm leaking up my drives to the right-hand side. It's going to be a common thing you're going to see this round, unfortunately, and I just couldn't quite get to grips with it. Usually my driving is at the better part of my game, but yeah, in this round it was kind of letting me down a little bit, so I had to rely on my short game and putting, which usually isn't the best idea for me, I've got to be honest. But yeah, just a short pitch out the trees, messed that one up, chip on, and unfortunately I missed the putt for the par, and that's actually rolled on a good 3 or 4 foot as well. So thankfully I clean it up for another bogey, and now moving on to another par 3, already 3 par 3s in 6 holes. So yeah, very different for me, and unfortunately I leak it to the right again. I just didn't strike this 8-iron well. And honestly, you can't really tell on this camera angle, but this was honestly an impossible golf shot. I've had to play this so far right to the pin because there's a bunker in between where I was and the trees there, and I had to get it underneath the trees. Honestly, that was a pretty good shot from where it was. Just missed the putt for the par. And yeah, come out of there with a bogey again. Honestly, from where I was, you couldn't really tell. That was probably a good bogey. Now we finally hit a good drive, really good strike down the left-hand side. 400 yard, 7th hole, par 4. Now it was pretty into the wind, so it didn't go a whole lot. You know, it didn't really go that far. And I'm using a 7-iron 160, and I just pull this massively. And it actually got an amazing ricochet off the greenkeeper's shed, and it actually managed to stay in. It had a massive hop to the right on this hill, and yeah, as you can tell my face, I found that pretty funny because it was just such a lucky shot. And then unfortunately I go ahead and not make use of my good fortune and cock up, well, the first chip shot, and then again I just didn't play a very good second chip shot either. So now still got 9 foot for the bogey. What can we do here? Just nowhere near poor putt. Just a very poor putting and short game display overall. So another double for me there, which is not ideal to say the least. Now moving on, this is probably shot of the day. Well, definitely by far. 254 yards. I knew if I hit a good 3-wood, it would probably go a bit too long, so I ended up going with a 4 hybrid. Pulled it slightly, but it must have got a big hop because that's gone like, yeah, so close to the pin. I just couldn't believe it. I just didn't quite judge the putt out the rough because it's very quick down the hill, but I just managed to make the birdie. So a good recovery there. I mean, such a good tee shot, honestly. I was so happy with that hybrid off the tee. And I couldn't say the same for this tee shot because I pulled it into the trees, into this par 5 where I felt like I could get some shots back again. So unfortunately, I had to chip out at the 6-iron, and I got 180 yards in. So another 7-iron. I struck this one so well. The ball flight was so good. It just carried too far, and I just had a big bounce. So I've got work to do now to get up and down for the for the par, hopefully. I mean, I judged this well for distance. I just pushed it. So yeah, pin eye, and it was just 10 foot to the right, unfortunately. So work to do down the slope for the par, but I actually roll it in. That was probably best putt of the day, and as you can see, I was pretty pleased with that one. Not gonna lie. So now 10th hole, starting the back 9, another par 3. This is actually quite a big change of pace for me. I'm not used to playing this many par 3s. It's actually only a par 69 golf course, so it's quite a short, golf course. A lot of par 3s, but it's just nice to actually play a golf course with, I think there's 6 par 3s if I'm not mistaken. So it was pretty interesting. There's a couple short ones like this. Unfortunately, I didn't hit the best chip shot. I mean, it was actually good for the line. I just could have played a bit harder, and again up the hill, didn't quite hit firm enough. So left myself a little bit short and just a tap in for the bogey. Now par 4, 11th hole. As you can see, a lot of these holes are quite tight. It is only a short course, but it is tight, lined with trees and bunkers everywhere. So I mean, I just didn't hit a good drive here again. It was very much off the toe, and another chip out. So this is what I'm having to do a lot, as you can probably have noticed. So 58 degree from about 80 yards, and I just chunk it massively. Ended up being quite a bit short. So now again, up and down needed for the bogey actually. So 54 degree, didn't quite chip it far enough up this hill onto the green. So now 13 foot for the bogey, and just wasn't the best putt. It wasn't really threatening as soon as I hit that. So I walk away with another double. Now par 4, I think this is actually the hardest hole on the golf course, the 12th hole, 432 yards, quite a long one in contrast to a lot of the previous par 4s you've seen. I hit a good drive here. I just slightly overdid it, and it's just it didn't really leave me a line in. That was honestly a little bit of a mistake. I got lucky with that one. I hit an 8-iron. I probably should have hit like a 5 or a 6 through the trees, but ended up being fine into the fairway. So kind of like a half pitching wedge onto the green. I slightly pulled it, and it just got a bit of a bounce to the left. So yeah, again, quite a long putt for the par. hit a good stroke here, but just not quite firm enough again. I'm leaving a lot of my putts. Well, I think since I hit a few of them on the first few holes, now I've kind of gone the opposite way, and I'm under hitting a lot of my putts. Now this next one, I struck this so well, but I just pulled this massively to the left. I actually had no idea where this was, so I was walking up there with a lot of risk of losing it, but I actually found it a long way up, well, the next hole, and yeah, only an 8 iron in over the trees here. I caught a bit of a flight of lie, so it's ended up gone quite a bit long, and it actually ended up being, well, it ended up lying underneath the bench, so I had to drop out of there, but just couldn't make use of this par 5, and I just messed up the chip, unfortunately. So again, 25 foot. I'm leaving myself long putts in for, well, just opportunities for, like, you know, good scores. Not the best putt for the birdie. I thought I actually missed that par putt, I'm not gonna lie. That's why it was an early walk, but it just about rolled in the edge of the hole. Now this next tee shot, quite a big slice, unfortunately, and if I was a member here and I knew this hole well, I probably would have played another one, because this was very close to going out of bounds. It was actually on the path, so I got a free drop off it. And again, another chip out. So I'm just wasting so many shots having to chip out. Now, 9 iron from 142. I thought I didn't catch this super well, because I thought it was going to be a bit short and maybe in the bunker, but it just cleared it. And it had a nice little bounce to the left, and left me an opportunity to make the par 16 foot away. This was actually on a really good line, but yeah, it was a bit tricky, and again, I'm leaving them a bit short, so walk out of there with a bogey. To be honest, I'd probably take it. It's quite a difficult hole, that one, especially because I probably was very close to going out of bounds. That was another par 3. Now we're getting into longer par 3s, 180, 190 yards, but pulled my 7 iron, down the left hand side, left me a chip onto the green. As you can see, the guys playing in front of me watching this one very closely. I hit a very good chip here, looking good. The pin, oh, that would have been so good to obviously make that, but just the timing of the people walking past. I had a chat with these lads afterwards, and yeah, they're really sound. So hopefully you enjoyed the view of that hole. Well, that shot, I wish I'd have obviously made it for you, but yeah, it was nice. I appreciate you sticking around after and chatting a little bit. But next up, par 5. Again, I'm not making use of the par 5s, like the opportunities for me as a, well, not a long hitter, but you know, I can get on the greens and some par 5s in too. Just a terrible slice, probably the biggest slice I've been so long. So now I'm having to play on the next hole. Hitting a pitching wedge over these trees, but I kind of caught it just off the heel and a bit thin. Left himself another tricky chip shot over the bunker, and this green was so firm. You'll see from this angle how dry it was, especially by the hole. It ended up running into the bunker, so I played a good bunker shot here, but I just was aiming too much to the left. So still a tricky shot down quite a steep slope for the bogey, and I was scared of it. I just tapped it, and there's a double for you. A very poor double bogey, I'm not gonna lie. Par 5s should be the holes where I'm making birdies or pars at least, and a double bogey is terrible for me there. A very long par 3, this one, 233 yards down the hill. 4 iron, I struck it so well. A slight fade, it was fading off a little bit, but it left me a long putt for the birdie. So I was very happy with that tee shot actually. I struck a 4 iron really well. I don't hit a 4 iron that often, but I was very happy with that one, very happy with that putt. So that was a good par on a long par 3. I will certainly accept a par, you know, from the tee. And then moving on to this next hole, well, the final hole, the 18th, about 300 yards from the tee. And I hit a good drive here, but I just pulled it, and I couldn't really tell, but it ended up going into the bunker, and this was such a scary shot. People behind the green, windows behind the green, and as you can see, I decelerated so much on that because I was just scared of it. And then my second shot to follow up out of the bunker, I pretty much shanked it. So now I've still got work to do to up and down this. So from a very good tee shot, really, you know, I was only a little bit off the green. I've got 8 foot for the bogey, which is just terrible. It's such a disappointing way to end. And now I just missed it for the bogey. So we ended up wrapping this round up with a double. I mean, it didn't, this didn't sum up my enjoyment of this golf course, because I actually really enjoyed this golf course. It's obviously a lot different than what I'm used to, but conditions were great, and it was just, really enjoyable. I'll definitely recommend you guys playing at Upton by Chester Golf Club if you're in the area. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully, like I said, you enjoyed this video. There is plenty more to come very soon, I do promise you that. Now that I'm back in the UK, I'm going to be posting a lot more regularly from now on, and I'm very excited to focus on the content going forward. So if you haven't yet subscribed, please do so, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.